For the first time, radar images recorded inside a Navy ship have confirmed the presence of several unknown objects that swarmed around the ship for hours.
The public has been able to see several astounding images of what certainly qualify as UFOs during encounters with the U.S. Navy.
UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S., kept classified by a secret government program for decades.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real.
Mass UFO sighting over Phoenix happened back on March 13th, 1997.
A lot of people are talking about some mysterious lights seen in the sky last night.
Encounters with the U.S. Navy. There's no question that the Pentagon has censored data to go along with the photos and videos, but none of that information has been leaked or otherwise released. That is, until today.
Until today.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you may be in the world right now, hello. My name is Lloyd, and right now, you're watching When Evil Follows. Phil Schneider was born into a high-ranking military family with a deep connection to the US government. He was born on the 23rd of April in the year of 1947 in Amador County, California, United States of America. He was raised by both of his parents, and his father, Oscar Francis Schneider, was a captain in the US Navy, and his mother Alice was a hard-working military nurse. Alice was also an active participant in the civil rights movement within the United States during the 1960s. Phil Schneider also had two siblings. Yeah, he had a brother named Mark and a sister named Kathy. All three children were deeply loved. However, because of the military influence, both parents were quite strict with the children, but also quite fair. And so yeah, all in all, Philip's childhood was stable and secure. Phil attended schooling in Indiana in Colorado, and would later earn 2 degrees in science and engineering. After completing college and university, he found work as a geologist and engineer, as an expert in understanding explosives, before finding full-time employment at the Los Alamos Air Force Base in New Mexico. And while working at Los Alamos, Phil's skill set and expertise were unique and unmatched, meaning it would only be a matter of time before he was eventually approached and asked to sign a disclaimer, a new contract of work at a military base, simply called S4. He was given a highly sophisticated role of work that was shadowed in secrecy and mystery, dealing in government undercover secret black projects. Phil Schneider was also given a high-level clearance for 14 long years. Now, before we go any further with the Phil Schneider case, I just want to come away from the storyline just for a moment. So, for all you people that have been living under a rock or simply just don't know about S4, it's cool. I got you. S4 is a subsection of land within the Area 51 perimeter. Area 51 being a highly secretive base. So secretive, in fact, the government actually denied its existence for many years beforehand. The mysterious and well-hidden base and land wasn't listed or available on any charted map. And so the government, being as shady as it gets, listed the land into different subsections on a private grid. S4 gained its name as it was located under that specific section of grid, and is located approximately 50 miles southwest of Area 51 in the Nevada desert. Both military bases are highly sensitive and classified and secretive facilities, and are notoriously known to this very day for retrieving crashed UFOs and reverse engineering alien uncharted technologies. This information was eventually made public thanks to the bravery of one of the former physicists and scientists, Bob Lazar, who worked at the S4 base during the middle 80s. His responsibilities there was reverse engineering several flying discs that all used non-man-made anti-gravity propulsion reactors.
What was your job description at S4?
My official job description was a senior staff physicist. I don't know if I actually had that position when I was there, because I was there so infrequently. I wasn't supervising anyone, so that was the official position I was hired under. There were 22 people with majestic clearance. I had majestic clearance. Majestic clearance was designated as clearance 38 levels above Q clearance, and Q clearance is the civilian top secret clearance.
When did you see your first disc?
The first disc I saw, I believe it was the second, or I think it was the third time I was up there. Normally the bus pulled around to the opposite end of the facility, which was the main entrance, and that's where we went in. On this particular occasion, it pulled up to one of the hangar doors, which were normally closed, and the last one was open. We came out, and I saw the disc in the hangar. Upon seeing it, it struck me that, well, this explains all the UFO sightings. Not thinking that it was an extraterrestrial craft, that this must have been some advanced form of fighter that we've been working on for years, and, you know, people have just caught it being tested, so on and so forth. And it never even occurred to me, even though I was looking at an extraterrestrial vehicle, that, you know, this wasn't man-made.
When did you realize the craft was not of earthly origin?
Well, it probably really hit me when I got inside the craft and looked around and began to understand how the craft was operated, and finally grasped the whole project as a whole, as what we were doing, the fact that we weren't building this thing, we were trying to find out how it was made. We were back engineering it.
What is back engineering?
Well, back engineering is taking a finished product and finding out how the device or product was produced, and essentially determining whether or not you can duplicate it.
However, since going public in the later stages of 1989, Bob Lazar claims that government officials have made many attempts on his life, including several raids at his family home address. It's all very strange, but true. And yet Phil Schneider's professional background is on point and very similar to that of Bob Lazar. And yeah, just for the record, their history checks out, guys. Or at least it does when others investigate into each man's professional history. Both men were recruited to serve their professional skills at the Area 51 base, including the S4 facility. Bob Lazar was a physicist and scientist who reverse engineered downed crafts, and Phil Schneider was a geologist and engineer who worked in the construction of secret deep underground military bases for the United States government. One of these underground bases was the Dulce base in New Mexico. Yeah, as an engineer he played a role in drilling and excavating vast underground networks that form these secretive installations. Schneider's work involved using specialized equipment and techniques to burrow through rock and create these amazing infrastructures needed for these amazing underground tunnels. His involvement in these projects gave him first-hand knowledge of the inner workings of the underground facilities, as well as a strong insight into the government's covert activities conducted within them. He also claims that over 65% of these underground facilities are home to many classified projects involving extraterrestrial beings, research facilities, and the holding of advanced technologies. Now, all of that does sound pretty cool, but why would Phil Schneider all of a sudden decide to become a whistleblower? Surely if trusted with such responsibility, why all of a sudden decide to go public? Well, Phil Schneider claims that the United States government sent him on a no-man-returns mission. Figuratively speaking, that the government sent him and his entire underground drilling team to their deaths.
I'm Phil Schneider. I worked 17 years for the United States government as a geologist and aerospace engineer, as well as a structural engineer. And like I said, I worked 17 years. Co-invented methods of shape charge blasting, as well as laser rock deflagration, which means rock is literally melted or powdered by a special laser combination, and the residue of the rock underneath is applied as a coating, as a liquid coating, kind of like instant agate, if you could imagine a hunk of agate, which is a hard silica mineral.
In this process, I was lowered down the basket of one of these holes, and about from me to this elderly woman here in the front was sitting a 7-foot-tall alien gray. The stench was worse than the worst garbage can you can imagine. The person was or the entity was absolutely horrible. I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish, and burnt my fingers right off of me. And it was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt burned all my toenails off of me. Much. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for him. I'm forever indebted. He lost his life. 66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat.
Whilst out on a digging and drilling mission at the Dulce Basin, New Mexico, whilst working out in the desert, Phil Schneider and his entire team were approaching a depth of around 1,000 meters deep into the Earth's mountain, when all of a sudden his team were violently attacked by vicious reptilian humanoid aliens, and that the government knew these humanoid beings were living down there in the desert mountain. Phil Schneider and his digging team were completely outnumbered as these reptilian creatures began killing everyone within his drilling team, with weapons so advanced no man stood a chance. It was a death march into a bloodbath. Out of 17 men and 2 women, only Phil Schneider along with 2 severely wounded team colleagues made it out alive. But not before Phil Schneider had 3 of his fingers completely blown off his hand by what he could only describe as a blue pulse of energy, kinda like a ray gun. The weapon's blast was so bright, whilst raising his hands to protect his eyes, his 3 fingers were completely incinerated off his hand, and that only by pure luck he managed to get out of there alive. He also found out through independent official channels many more dark and horrific government agendas. Phil Schneider claims ever since going public, and just like Bob Lazar, he's had numerous attempts made on his life. In fact, just weeks after this video was recorded, Phil Schneider was found dead in his apartment by asphyxiation. Yeah, this man apparently ended his life, and though he was happily married with beautiful children, his death was officially ruled as suicide. Which to me doesn't really make any sense as to why he would want to do that. He was a man on a mission who had planned to travel the United States of America, Canada and England, exposing the truth behind many government secret black projects, with many supporters of his work still arguing the fact that he was actually murdered to silence him from speaking out any further on the dark 2029 agenda. However, the one thing is for sure, Bob Lazar's claims have never changed over the years, and his need to watch his back still remains the same. Hello there, and thank you for watching another episode of When Evil Follows. So what do you think to this case? Do you believe Phil Schneider and Bob's claims? And what do you make of all of these evil hidden government agendas? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. By hitting the like button, it allows others to discover this channel. So do me a favour and hit that like button. And if you're new around here, do consider subscribing to the channel for more videos similar to this one. Also subscribe to my Coffee Patreon and gain more perks and content. And with all that being said, do look after yourself and stay safe. And I'll see you again real soon, the next time, when evil follows. Bye.